evening and welcome to Yankee Stadium. This is your Yankees Fan Central.
The Yankees may be on the verge of giving up one of the most highly anticipated prospects of the past decade. And the question isn't just whether it's the right decision, it's whether they still have a choice. There's a situation involving the Yankees that deserves a closer look. I'm Daniel Brooks, Yankees Fan Central, and today we're going to talk about Jasson Dominguez, what his demotion says about where the team stands, and why a trade proposal with the Cardinals might make more sense than it seems at first glance. Are the Yankees going to trade Jasson Dominguez? What this proposal really means? You followed spring training. You saw Jasson Dominguez come into the preseason with all the expectations on his shoulders, the nickname, the raw talent, the story of the kid the Yankees signed at 16 for all-star level money, and then came the cut, sent down to the minors before the season even truly began. The Yankees have put Dominguez in a very uncomfortable position, and now that discomfort could turn into something irreversible. The question making the rounds is no longer when will he be called back up. It's whether he will be called back up at all. Patrick McAvoy from Sports Illustrated put a proposal on the table that captures where this situation could be headed. Dominguez going to the Cardinals in exchange for Lars Nootbaar and left-handed reliever JoJo Romero. My initial read? The Yankees are at a real crossroads with this kid. And this proposal, as uncomfortable as it may be for fans, makes more strategic sense than it seems at first glance. Let's be objective for a moment. The Yankees opened the season by beating the Miami Marlins twice in a row, 8-2 on Friday, 9-7 on Saturday. The team is working. The roster on the field right now has pieces that need to produce immediately, not 2 years from now. That's the logic of a franchise operating with an open championship window. It's always been that way in New York, and it's not going to change. Dominguez's issue isn't talent. It never was. He has physical tools that most prospects will never have in their lifetime. But tools and production are different things, and in New York, the room for gradual development is historically limited. The city doesn't wait. The market doesn't wait. The front office that brought in Juan Soto and is now holding together Judge and the rest of the roster isn't going to sit back and watch an outfield spot be occupied by someone who still needs to solve consistent contact issues at the major league level. You've seen this movie before, right? The difference is that this time, the story might end differently and sooner than most people expect. This is where I come in with a slightly more specific perspective, because I think most of the analysis out there is only looking at Dominguez and ignoring what's coming back in this deal. Lars Nootbaar is a player the entire league consistently underrates. He doesn't have the kind of numbers that land his face on the cover of ESPN, but he plays real baseball, strong plate discipline, a threat as a leadoff or number 2 hitter, and a solid outfielder defensively. Over the past few years, he's been exactly the type of piece contending teams need and rarely acquire without overpaying. The issue right now is the injury. He's on the 60-day injured list, and any deal depends on him proving he's healthy once he returns to the field. And that's the key point. Daniel Brooks would say the same thing any honest analyst would say. The viability of this trade is directly tied to what Nootbaar shows between now and the August deadline. If he comes back healthy and performing, the Cardinals are going to want more than Dominguez to move him. Then there's JoJo Romero, a 2.07 ERA in 65 appearances in 2025. No earned runs in 3 outings in 2026. This is exactly the profile of a left-handed bullpen arm the Yankees chase every year at the trade deadline and rarely land without giving up significant value. If you've been watching the games this week, you know the bullpen is an area that will always need depth. This part of the proposal, in particular, makes a lot of sense. If this analysis is making sense to you, drop a like. It helps the channel reach more fans who follow the team closely. But getting back to the main point, what the Yankees do with Jasson Dominguez says a lot about how the front office views this competitive window. If they trade him now, it's an acknowledgement that the Dominguez project in New York has reached the practical limit of what the franchise can sustain with a contender roster. It's not giving up on the talent, it's accepting that his development timeline doesn't match the team's timeline. If they hold on to him, the bet is that something clicks in the minors and he becomes a real option at some point during the season. But then, the August deadline will arrive, and this conversation will come back. likely with less leverage. At the end of the day, this proposal isn't about Jason Dominguez failing. It's about the Yankees needing pieces that solve specific problems right now. An outfielder who controls the strike zone and a left-handed bullpen arm with an ERA under 2.50 are exactly that, practical solutions to real gaps. What I keep watching is this. Every time a high-profile prospect gets stuck in between, good enough not to be discarded, but not yet ready to hold a spot on an October roster, the trade deadline solves the equation. It always has. So here's the question. Do the Yankees believe that a healthy Nootbaar plus Romero is worth more right now than the possibility of Dominguez breaking out in 2 years in another city wearing their uniform? Because that's the real trade being made. It's not just players, it's bets. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would you hold on to Dominguez, or would you make this trade right now?